Alright guys, so we're going to be going through a bunch of new updates going on right now within Fortnite. I want to talk about the THANOS game mode potentially returning to the game based on some recent leaks, and there's also some possible changes to this game mode from last time. There's some new audio and there's some new codes in the files of Fortnite, so we'll look at that. We're also going to be talking about the sword that was obviously added today, but is it more fit for an LTM? A lot of people are saying that it should be there. Maybe they'll change it. We'll talk about that as well. And then also some random stuff going on within Fortnite right now, you know, such as the Winter Royale and different stuff like that. So that being said, if you can leave a like, that'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe for more Fortnite videos, and let's get started. So very quickly here, let's just start off with the Winter Royale. Obviously, it's going on right now. If you want to check it out, it's on Twitch, Fortnite's channel, or any of the streamers. Obviously, you know, Ninja, Myth, whoever is pretty much usually in these tournaments, they're going to be streaming it, so definitely check it out there. It's obviously pretty fun. It gets pretty intense. Right now, we're at 200 players. Overall, it's a $500,000 prize pool, which is pretty insane, and there's 100 spots to claim for the grand final, so obviously it's going to get pretty intense. So if you want to check that out, definitely go over to Twitch and watch it. I'm not too familiar with the scoring system, and there's different ways that people actually, you know, score. It's not just based off of kills, it's based off a bunch of other stuff. So it's saying, again, many different ways to actually get points. So all different types of players with different play styles will move forward in the competition. That's obviously pretty cool because, you know, sometimes, especially in the early events, and if you look all the way back to like a lot of the early even Keemstar events, just simply based off of kills isn't always the best way, or based off of some random meter. I forgot what that first event was, but it didn't work out well. But I think they're finally, you know, figuring out a nice formula to how to scoring Fortnite, because Fortnite, they didn't really understand how to score and how to have a tournament, but now it's looking pretty good, so I'm glad they figured it out. But anyway, that's that. Let's talk about the leaks here with the THANOS game mode potentially returning. So within this new patch, there are a bunch of different files related to the name Carmine, and that apparently is the name that was associated with the Infinity Gauntlet LTM that was added a couple months ago. Obviously, there's stuff within the code. I'm not gonna read the full lines of code for you guys, but you know, it says Spear pickup, gauntlet pickup, gauntlet pickup, something else. Like, okay, pretty much it's pretty self-explanatory there. THANOS, it's in the code, and here's the new sounds. This sound file is called Carmine_disappear1, and again, I don't know what that's relevant to anything, but here is the sound. So again, that's that. Now, usually when they change these different lines of code, that obviously means something different, something slightly altered is going to be within the game. So it's not like the same exact code, meaning it's not the same exact game mode, and everything isn't the completely same way it was back from the original THANOS game mode. Now, I don't think they're going to drastically change the game mode. I think pretty much how the game mode worked before, it's going to be the same way. They're not going to completely change the way the whole game mode works. There aren't that many lines of code here, and the code is pretty similar, but there again is a new sound. So maybe they changed the sound, maybe they changed a bunch of the ways THANOS actually moves around. Who knows what they did, but I think the main idea of that THANOS game mode, how THANOS moved, how he just maneuvered in that map, it's pretty much going to be there. Maybe they're going to fine-tune it, maybe they're going to add some new elements to it, who knows. But the codes are there, the lines of code are there. We just don't know what it means. Usually when we look at the codes and we have these sounds, it's like, oh, change is coming. Like, we know change is coming, we know something's different, but we just don't know exactly what that difference is. So maybe we'll get some new leaks, and maybe we'll just have to wait until this game mode comes back to Fortnite to see what they did. So that's that. Now we're going to talk about the sword. So the sword obviously was added today. It was added to the normal battle royale rotation, and it's pretty sick. Obviously, it's different. It's like overpowered in some senses, because you can just, like, you'll see, I'll put some gameplay up on screen. I'm not in an actual game, I just got some gameplay for you guys, but obviously you can lunge forward, and that can be really good. You just break through just anything in your way. It's pretty sick, but at the same rate, you could easily get shot down. I think they did find a pretty decent balance. It's not really too overpowered. If someone lunges at you and then smashes that sword down on you, you're probably gonna die. You're probably gonna be screwed, especially if you're even just the slightest bit weak. But for the most part, if you see that guy coming, you have the sword out, you're gonna get shot down if you have the sword, because you can't just like have a sword and then deflect bullets, and you can't just lunge at someone that quickly. Sometimes if you have a gun and you're lunging at someone, the guy with the gun is probably gonna kill you. So, you know, I don't know. I think they found a balanced way to actually put the sword in the game and make it so it's not too overpowered but not too underpowered. So that's obviously cool, but the sword would make a lot more sense to be in a limited time mode. A bunch of people were tweeting and just having different responses to this. I do think, I was talking about, or I made the video yesterday, 2 days ago, you know, when I mentioned the sword, but you know, similar, and I'm not saying it needs to be exactly like the Thanos game mode where you have this one crazy guy and he's just destroying everyone, but having multiple swords around the map, and once you pick up the sword, that player is just like, he's just insane. Like he turns into this crazy giant, and you know, he has this really large sword, and he's just destroying people and just destroying large portions of the map. Just a lot more of a crazier scale than it's at right now, because obviously you lunge forward, you can take a pretty decent chunk of a building, and if you smash down on players, you're pretty much gonna kill them if they're just a slice bit weak like I said. But obviously, if it was its own LTM, the main focus would be to get that sword, because that sword would be the most powerful thing, and it would put a lot more of an emphasis on the sword. It would be a lot more cool if that sword was just super overpowered. Obviously, it wouldn't be a big deal because it's in its own LTM, so people are not going to say like, oh, that's like people saying the Thanos is overpowered. Obviously, it's overpowered. It's the LTM. That's the whole point of it. So having the sword being super overpowered, super sick, you know, I feel like they could do a lot more with the sword if they throw it into an LTM and make it its own thing, make it sort of the highlight of the game mode rather than just a random weapon in the game that people are gonna go for sometimes, but it's not really always the best weapon, because you know, obviously you can just get shot down pretty easily, because the sword, it's good but it's not that good. So I don't know, I feel like they could do a lot more with that if they put into an LTM. So we'll see, maybe if they do that in the future, that'd be cool, but as of now, it's not bad within the game. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. Just a couple different updates here with Fortnite, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.